Welcome back to Ultimate Spider-Man Saturdays. Now, we're gonna take a little bit of a breather, guys. You see, Spider-Man has a series of interesting arcs that happen and then a series of non-interesting arcs that happen. In order to line this up so that on the day of the actual movie coming out, we're gonna have to jump around a little bit, which means that we need to take a little bit of a breather from the main overarching storyline to tell you about a little fun story known as the Wolverine team-up. It's basically a filler issue that came out while we get our situation situated, but don't worry, next week is gonna be Ultimate Deadpool. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, this is very similar to an episode of the actual TV show at Disney, but I personally think this is better because comics are better than the show. And anyway, in our last video, Peter battled against Carnage, a creature genetically made using a sample of Peter's blood. To maintain its form, Carnage needed to absorb the nutrients from humans, and he started to kill anything within its reach. Its final target, though, was Gwen Stacy, and after throwing Carnage into a smokestack, Peter must go on living, knowing that there was only one person that he couldn't save. As the sun rises over the Parker home, Peter can hear Aunt May shouting for him to get up or he's gonna be late. He finally comes downstairs and he looks around asking what the hell is going on, and May tells him that she knows that they're not moving yet, but getting a head start on packing is a bit more relaxing. As May goes on talking, Peter doesn't respond to her and she tells him that someone's awfully grumpy. Peter heads downstairs and starts to look around, sniffing things. Before he can go anywhere though, Mary Jane flips on the light, stating that the whole point of having a boyfriend is to have someone to walk to school with, so hurry up and get ready. Peter looks around asking, "School?" And Mary Jane says that it's not her most ideal place for a date, but that's the best that they can do for the day, and she kisses Peter. As she hugs him, Peter just smiles, awkwardly. Meanwhile, in a dirty motel room, Logan, the man known as Wolverine, begins to wake up asking, "What the heck is that smell?" Logan looks around at his arm asking, "What is this? Why am I so hairy?" He jumps out of bed, running to the bathroom, asking himself, "What is going on?" And then he looks at his arm as his claws pop out, stabbing through it. Back over at the Parker home, Mary Jane asks Peter, what does he mean by he's not going to school? Is something going on? Is that a Spider-Man thing? Peter asks, "What?" And then tells her, "Yeah, go get the costume and leave it here." As Peter closes the door to the basement, Aunt May shouts to Peter that he needs to answer her when she calls for him. There's someone on the phone from the Daily Bugle. He grabs the phone and Logan shouts, "What the heck did you do? What mutant freak thing did you do to put me in the hairy beast of a body? And why are you stinky like a dog?" Now that we've figured it all out, Logan is in Peter's body and Peter's in Logan's body. Logan, in Peter's body, says, "Look, kid, I really don't know what's going on either." And Peter, in Logan's body, says, "Whatever is happening, you need to go to school for me." Now, to keep things less confusing at this point forward, we are going to be referring to Peter as Peter, and we'll be referring to Logan as Logan, but regardless of the body that they are in, that is how we're going to be referring to them. So when I say Logan, I mean Logan in Peter's body. So just so you know what's going on. Logan tells him no, and Peter shouts, "I've already missed too many days. Just go to school. I'll meet you there." As Peter yells, he mistakenly pops the claws out, cutting the payphone in half, as well as cutting off his own pinky. Peter shouts for someone to help him, and then he sees the pinky growing back, and he says, well, never mind, and he runs off. A little while later, Logan walks around looking at the cheerleaders, and Mary Jane tells him to wipe the drool off. Logan asks if they're really allowed to wear those sort of things, and Mary Jane shoves him in the back, asking, "What the hell is your problem?" And she storms off. Logan takes a look at the costume and says, "That isn't happening." As he wanders around the school, a security guard tries to stop him, asking why he's in class. Logan turns the corner and the guard chases after him, and when he does, he doesn't see Peter, because Logan is hanging off of the wall waiting. But not knowing how to control Peter's powers, they end up failing on him. He gets up after hitting the guard, and Peter runs in shouting, "Stop it! What are you gonna do, kill him?" As Peter stares at him, he says, "Oh God, you are in my body. What kind of mutant?" And Logan stops him, telling him, "How do I know it wasn't you that did this?" Peter points and shouts, and a claw pops out, hitting Logan, and Logan asks, "The hell is that buzzing?" Peter then explains that it's his spider sense, but look, we can figure this out. "Right now, we just need to go to class." And Logan tells him, "Fine," and he heads in. As Peter waits for Logan to come back out, he sees a group of men driving by the school, shooting at the police. Peter, still thinking that he's in his body, runs in to try and stop the men, but he ends up jumping and bouncing off of the thug's car and landing on the police car, which then causes it to plow into the thug's car. He looks up, seeing the thug's car flying towards him, and he says, "This is gonna hurt." And back inside of the class, all of the students watch the accident. Logan quietly says, "Idiot kid." As the cops surround Peter, they tell him to freeze, and he tries to tell them, "I'm totally cooperating and stuff." And another cop shouts for him to put his hands up, so Peter does, and he accidentally accidentally pops the claws out again. The cops tell him to put those away, and they retract, but then they pop out again. And Peter says, "Oh, nuts." He looks at the cops. "I'm really sorry, but I have to go." And he starts to run, and then the cops taser him. A short while later in the jail cell, the cops hand Peter the phone, telling him that he gets to make one call, but no sudden moves. Peter takes the phone and he calls over to the only place that he knows that might be able to help, Charles Xavier's school. Kitty answers the phone, and Peter asks, "Who is this?" And Kitty says, "Who's this? Logan?" Peter says, "Look, I'm the guy you met before. It's me, Spider-Man." And Kitty says, "Right, say hi to the Hulk for me." Peter shouts, "I'm serious. I'm stuck in the body of your teammate. I just woke up and suddenly I was like this. We switched bodies or something." Kitty listens and then bursts out laughing, handing the phone to Storm, stating that she just can't. As Storm answers, Peter gets frustrated and pops the claws, cutting the phone in half. He then looks up and sees the cops all pointing their tasers, and they shock him again. A little while later, Peter sits up in his cell, stating that, all things considered, it's nice here. And then the sounds of guns going off rings throughout the jail cell. Peter sees Logan fighting all of the cops, and as the gun goes off, Peter watches and gets caught in the crossfire, and it hits him in the head. Peter shouts, "What did you just do?" And Logan tells him, "Look, pop out a claw and jam it into the lock so that we can get out of here." Peter asks, "How? I can't even control these things." And Logan says, "Just think about it," and flick. Suddenly, a single claw pops out, and Logan says, "There, now punch the lock." Once the two of them get outside, Logan tells Peter to hang on a second, and he pulls the bullet out of Peter's skull. He goes on saying, "Look, bub, you're taking really bad care of my body." Peter ignores him, asking, "Where's the rest of my costume?" And Logan says, "I am not wearing your stupid costume. I'm done wearing this mask. It's smelly." "You want to talk about smelly? You need to do a full body shampoo and wash everywhere." As the two begin to argue again, an explosion goes off, and the sounds of people screaming can be heard. Peter says that they need to stop this, and Logan shouts, "No, we're in the middle of something here." Peter leaps up to the ledge of the building, telling him, "I'm sorry. Come with me or not, I gotta go." Down on the streets, the bank robber destroys their car, shouting that he'll do it again, but this time in their faces. So Peter jumps down, and the robber sees Logan, and he says, "Oh no, not again." As Peter tries to be nice to the guy, Logan tells him, "Hey, I got an image to keep over here." The two begin to bicker yet again, and Logan webs up the robber and then flings him towards them. Peter cracks the man in the face, and before they can get back to each other's throats, Peter and Logan see Jean and the rest of the X-Men appear. Jean walks over to Peter, saying that she told him to stop hitting on her. And Peter asks, "What?" Jean, realizing what's happened, turns back to Logan, shouting that she told him that the next time that she would do something mean with her incredibly powerful psychic powers. And Logan asks, "You did this? Well, put us back together." And Peter shouts, "You guys have totally ruined my life." Jean puts her hands on Peter and Logan's heads, and she puts the two of them back in their original bodies. Peter shouts, "God, you know why people hate you guys? It's not because you're mutants, it's because of..." Insert long string of censored insults. As Peter jumps away, Colossus asks, "Why did I get called that? I was just standing here." And a little while later, Peter heads back home to find Mary Jane waiting for him, and he tells her that he's sorry, kind of wasn't himself today. She hugs him, telling him it's okay, it's just the thing that he tried to do this morning. They should probably wait until they're a bit older to do that. And that wraps up the comic book version of the Wolverine Spider-Man swap around. Personally, I like this one better, and I like the fact that it's all Jean Grey just being mean to Wolverine. But hey, what do you guys think? Did you like the cartoon better, or did you like this version better? Don't forget to subscribe to get your Saturday morning Ultimate Spider-Man comic book stuff, and you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram where we can talk about Spider-Man. And don't forget, we're coming to some of the best stuff. I know I say that a lot, guys, but we just did Venom, we just did Carnage, now we're coming up to the Deadpool storyline, and then we're coming up to the entire Clone Saga. So we are coming up to the good stuff. I'll see you next time right here.